And we're live. Hey guys, what's up? With James, and welcome to another Crowdrender live stream. Exciting stuff. So hopefully you guys are excited. I can see there are a few people online, so I like to keep it friendly. So say hello in chat if you want to. Just tell me like where you're from, and I will say hello back, hopefully. And today I'm going to be looking at some of the new releases that we've got out for, at the moment, just supporters, but eventually they will be freely available. And I'll talk a little bit more about how we're going to do that. So I'm going to run through what is in these patch updates. So I'm going to talk about 3 different releases, 2 of which are already available if you're a supporter, and 1 which is probably out in the next couple of weeks. And as you might have already realized from the title, we have got support for Denoising, Cryptomatte, and Mantaflow. So by the time we've gone through 024, currently available for supporters, 025, currently available for supporters, 026, yet to be released for supporters. By the time those 3 patch updates are done, we'll have support for all of those features, which is, again, Denoising, Cryptomatte, and Mantaflow. So I'm just going to show you how that's working. I've actually got the latest release here, and I'm going to go through what each release has in it, and just give you a quick demo of it working, and then talk a little bit about, at the end of the video, just how it's going to work with the development fund, because obviously, as I mentioned, these latest patches are available for early access if you're a supporter. And then the idea we have is that we're going to set some new goals on our development fund page. And as we pass those goals, we'll start releasing each of these patch updates that we're doing. And then new stuff from the new system we're building as we pass each funding milestone. And those funding milestones are really important because basically they're going to be used to pay us as developers so we can work full-time on the project. So we're going to transition from being just developing in our free time to hopefully making this our full-time project so we can make it really strong. That's our ambition. We want to be a fully community-funded project. At least that's the goal. That's what we're going to try and do. Okay, so I have got in front of me just basically a simple fluid domain, and this little section, a little bit out of order, is a teaser for what we're going to do in a exclusive to supporters live stream. We're actually going to show you how to set this all up from scratch so you can have really great workflows for rendering fluid simulations. Right now I just want to talk about the latest, very latest code that we're working on fixes an important bug. So if you are doing fluid simulations at the moment, you cannot actually use Crowdrender. Unfortunately, we found a bug literally this week. And it seems to be, it's not something that we could have predicted because it wasn't actually in our code. There's something weird happening with Python inside Blender. So we actually managed to fix that. So now we can actually render on multiple machines and it now works. If you were to try this with the current freely available release, it's actually quite hard to tell what's going on other than it just doesn't work because there's no error messages or anything. It's just that the render nodes don't seem to render at all. So I just want to put that out there. 026 will fix that, which is coming if you're a supporter in about sort of 2 weeks-ish. And we'll talk later about how it's coming if you're not a supporter and when you might expect to get access to it. Because we don't want to leave all the rest of the community behind, but we do want to obviously reward the people who are supporting us with early access. And it's also an incentive for supporting the project too, because we want everyone to benefit, not just us, but the community and everyone who's involved in it. All right, so this fluid domain is set up. I've got a Crowdrender node here ready to go, and if I press render, you'll see that this is 0.26, and in a second they'll fire up and start rendering. So what would happen before is the other node would just exit and say that there was a problem but never actually render. So now you can actually see it's rendering. So 026 fixes an important bug, and while I talk over the top of this and get ready for showing you the other 2 builds, you can see this thing actually rendering. Just so you know, I'm on the straight and level, guys. We've actually really fixed something. You're watching something showing it's fixed. So we've released 3 builds. We will release 3 builds. The first one, actually no, 4. Yeah, 023, 024, 025, 026. Sorry, I can't count. It's actually 4 builds. So I'm going to go through each one and just let you know what's in each one and also do a little bit of a demo of each one. I may not let this render all the way to the end, just because it's going to take a while. Hopefully you can see the progress ticking up over here. And what is the... Yep. Okay, cool. So if you want to try any of this stuff out, obviously you need to currently be supported to download these builds. You just go and log in with your Crowdrender account, and then you'll have access to them all. Now, if you have signed up as a supporter recently and you have not yet got access, and you might be feeling a bit worried that, okay, they haven't realized, why is my build, why am I access? Gosh, if I could speak properly, there. Why do I not have access to all this stuff, James? You may be thinking that. You need to send us an email. A lot of the stuff we're doing at the moment is manual, just because we're trying to rebuild our systems. They've kind of been cobbled together, and they're obviously showing that we need to make some drastic improvements. So we're working on making it automated, that as soon as you pay to be a supporter, you get access. Right now it's not automated. So if you have signed up and paid, and you do not yet have access, you need to send us an email from your Crowdrender account. Maybe include the receipt number from your PayPal, because that will just help us marry up which payment goes with which account. Because right now that's not automated. That's what we're currently building. So apologies for jankiness of how we've set it up. That will be fixed. But in the meantime, we really need you to send us an email if you haven't got access, because it's not intentional that we've taken your money and then just not given you access. And we're trying to match up accounts with payment subscriptions as they come through. But if you use a different email for your PayPal, your Crowdrender account, it's actually very hard for us to find you unless you've used your first and last names. And it's something we can reasonably assume, yes, this is that person. Most of the time, we just ask you to email us from your Crowdrender account with the PayPal receipt, and then we know, okay, that payment belongs to that particular account, and we can give you access. But as I said, we're working on making that a thing of history, which will be great for you guys and really great for us too. Okay, so you can see this thing is rendering. This is the local one. The other machine is a little bit slow, but that's because, as I will demonstrate in the next live stream for the supporters, the entire setup, I've actually got this working in a similar way to the last live stream, which is I've set up a share folder on one PC, which is where the baked cache is for this fluid simulation. And the other machine just references the shared folder, which is actually really nice. Okay, you can see it's finished. And it looks different on this side. Now, I'm not exactly sure why this is. This appears to be a cycles thing, not a Crowdrender thing, because when I go to the other machine, transfer everything across manually and set it up as an entirely standalone project on that computer, it renders a much darker scene like this, even just using normal F12 cycles, no Crowdrender. So it seems to be that my hardware is probably a bit old on that computer. This one's from a new machine. So if you get this, obviously you might want to check if all the assets are properly synced, but I've done that. Everything is completely 100% synchronized, and it still does this, even if I do an F12 render on that particular computer, which is the other computer, this one. It still ends up being dark. So you might find you just have a hardware issue, and no matter what you do, it will still render differently. I wasn't expecting this because I thought CPU rendering was the same no matter what hardware used, but it seems that's not actually the case. So I could get another PC and prove that, but I'm not going to do that today. Okay, so let's go through each build. So 023, which currently freely available, you have 022. 023 added support for denoising and Cryptomatte. So I'm just going to do a quick demo of how that works. And I guess, what could I use? Do I have any interesting... I'm not sure if I actually have any really great projects on this computer to demonstrate with. So what I might do, should actually have, let's have a look. Let's not save that. Let's go to desktop, Blender projects. Let's use BMW scene. That's always good for a laugh. I mean, good for a render. What am I talking about? A laugh? Ugh. Sorry. Okie dokies. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the samples down to like 10. And because we want this to go quick, I'm not going to do a full size render. 50% might be okay. I'm just going to do a quick F12 and see how long that takes. The idea is it should be very, very quick and very, very dirty. So obviously Crowdrender helps you out by accelerating things. So denoising is obviously one way to make things faster as well. If you can use the two together, that would be really nice. But in 022, we hadn't yet figured out how to support the new denoising node and also Cryptomatte. So 023 is our first attempt at doing that. So I'm going to show you how that works. There is, however, a problem with 023, which is why we released the next version. So I'm going to talk about that in a sec. Okay, so you can see this is pretty noisy, and I'm not going to let this really finish because it's going to take a while. So what I am going to do, though, is just stop that there. Actually, I'm going to go even less. I'm going to do 5 samples. 5 samples is going to look horrible, but let's see how quickly does that go. I just want something quick so we can show you a couple of renders. Oh yeah, it's way better. In terms of speed, it's going to look pretty noisy though. There we go. Okay, so yeah, that's quick enough. Alright, so we now have to set up denoising. So I'm going to do that by going to my compositor. And I'm going to add in the denoising node, which I think is in filter, denoise. There we are. Then we have to obviously add in passes. So we've got to go over to the passes, and then we add the denoising pass. There it is, denoising data, and we add. I'm going to add Cryptomatte as well. Yeah, I'm just going to add. Oh no, I think I might add material actually. Let's add the material Cryptomatte passes. So I will also add a Cryptomatte key as well. So we'll just stick those in there for now. Actually, what I will do as well is I'll relink all of the images. So I'm going to go denoising normal. So I'm just doing normal setup of the denoising node. There are other tutorials on the web that I'm pretty sure will do a better job of me rambling on, telling you how to set this up. Okay, so there we go. So in 023, you'd have to resync your project after you added all this stuff in, because the updates to these passes, so whether you've got the denoising data selected or the Cryptomatte selected, were not actually automatically synchronized. So right now, 024 fixes that problem, as well as another thing I'll talk about in a sec. So 023 added sort of basic support for it, and then we found there was a bug, and that's why we released 024, just in case you're wondering why we have all these patch versions suddenly coming available. Okay, so hopefully we will get some denoising happening, and then we can accelerate the render as well using 2 machines. So I've got another machine synced, so it should have all of those passes available. Fingers crossed. I always feel a little bit intrepid when I'm doing this live in front of people because I have no room to back up and correct it if things go wrong. But you know, hey, if I fail, I fail. I'll fix it. Okay, so we're going to give that a quick render. And then we should see that the denoising pass gets applied and it doesn't look quite as noisy. So let's see what happens. So both machines are rendering it. That's pretty cool. So we've got 1 pass back. And we're just waiting for the computer, which is a little bit slower, unfortunately. It's almost done. Deep breaths. Here comes the tile and compositing. There you go. Okay, look, it's denoising. That actually looks pretty decent as well. Wow, I'm impressed. This new denoising stuff works pretty well. I think though when you zoom in you start to see if you like the grill doesn't look quite as good, but I'm not going to make this a critique of the denoising thing. I mean, at first impression that's pretty clean for 5 samples. Not sure how you go with animation though. You might find there's a bit of sort of flickering and stuff. I haven't tried animating a camera moving around this, but maybe we'll do that in a future stream. Okay, so that is denoising working. So let's look at Cryptomatte. So I just want to demonstrate that that's working as well. Remember, this is all done on 2 separate computers. And this is all just, I hadn't had to press resynchronize or send my blend file again. I've just been able to add passes in with the file already uploaded and then just change things on the fly. So hopefully that's going to make things a bit easier for people. Remember though, being able to change it on the fly like this without resyncing is 024. 023, you can still do this, but you'd have to, like every time you add a denoising pass or add one of these other Cryptomatte passes, you'd have to resynchronize the blend file because for some reason it wouldn't automatically sync in 023. You had to fix it. Okay, now I'm going to do Cryptomatte now. I don't know why I'm singing it, but I am. Okay, so we'll do an output so we can see stuff. I'm not really going to do much other than that, so we're going to do pick and backdrop. That's interesting. Did I do something wrong? I think I did. I guess this is material? God, is that what I wanted? Okay. Maybe I just had the wrong thing selected. Oh, yeah. All right, there we go. I had the wrong viewer selected. Sorry about that. Operator error. Okay, so now I've got the pick selected. I can pick something to appear in the image. So I'm just going to pick the hood. And then hopefully that means all the hood stuff appears, I guess. That's very, very rough. But again, I didn't really render this with a huge amount of quality. Ha! There you go. That's pretty cool. Am I going to use the alpha? I don't know. Do I want to use the alpha? Interesting. Interesting how in my other tests it didn't really look like that. But it's correctly picked out the bodywork only as the matte. So if you want to isolate parts of your image, it's really easy to use Cryptomatte to do this, which I guess is the benefit of the tool. I don't really use this sort of workflow that much. So look to other tutorials to inform you better, but you can actually do it. And let's just go back to let's go back to the picking menu and just remove it just to make sure that works. And then the matte should be clear, and it is. And just for the sake of kidding around, we'll just select the headlights. Ha! That's cool. Like a couple of evil eyes looking at you. What does the image look like when I do that? Yeah, that's weird. I don't know why. Other tests I've done, obviously, because this is a matte, and this is the bit that I'm saying is opaque, and this is the bit that's transparent. That's what normally, I guess, a matte does, or a mask, sorry. Normally a mask is applied through this image node, so when you view it, you only see the parts of the image where the matte layer is white, but I'm seeing everything, so I don't know. Someone needs to tell me maybe what I'm doing wrong. Maybe I have to plug maybe I have to plug the matte into this. No. Nope. Nope, that doesn't work. Okay, I'm out of my depth officially. If you're watching this and you've spotted my very obvious error, then perhaps you might like to just put it in the comments and tell me how much of a noob I am and teach me the proper way to do it. But hopefully that's demonstrated to you. Okay, denoising in Crowdrender works. Cryptomatte, if you want your passes all to show up in the compositor, yep, that works as well. So all passes, when you do a render, they are contained within the data that comes back from all of the render nodes. So it'll be just the same as using Blender normally, only hopefully much quicker. Okay, so 023, 024. 024 has got the ability to add, like you can add the assets or the object, and that's, you can see the little sync thing happening here when I do that now, which didn't happen before. So if I untick object, synced. So that's a way of telling that it's actually working. You'll get a little notification when you make changes like this that your other nodes are actually picking that up, change up and synchronizing it. So 024 got us to this stage. Now, the next thing we found is there were some issues with supporting Python 3.8. So some of you guys wanted to use, I think this might really only be relevant for people who are using Linux with maybe daily builds. So if you don't know much about the Python side of Blender, Python is bundled with a particular version of Python, and I'm on 2.8a today. You can see if I just turn my face off for a second, just go to Blackmagic only. So yeah, if you look down here in the scripting view, so I've just selected the scripting tab. You can see here that in this particular version of Blender, which is 2.827, I'm using, well, Blender has been packaged with Python 3.74. Some of you guys mentioned to us that you were finding Python 3.8 was turning up in some builds of 2.82 and 2.3 maybe. So we had to basically make a change. We tried doing that in 2.4, but then we found a bug. So 0.25 fixed that bug and has support for Python 3.8. We also found a minor bug which caused some error messages to get spat out when you were working with Linux on a headless server, and it was to do with not setting the no audio flag. So it thought that there was an audio device, and sometimes if you're using a server which doesn't have one necessarily, it can throw out some error messages. It didn't seem to be fatal, but we fixed the bug anyway. So 0.25 has Cryptomatte, denoising support, and also has support for Python 3.8, because obviously it seems that we're moving towards now having Python 3.8 as the norm for future releases of the 2.8 series of Blender releases. Cool. So the last one I want to chat about, so this is going to be the last part of the stream, is obviously just going back to flip fluids for a second. Well, I say flip fluids, I mean Mantaflow, sorry. I really should have named my file flip fluids. That was a bit of a misnomer. So yeah, free accidental plug for flip fluids, but I've never actually used flip fluids with Crowdrender, so I don't actually know if it works. I assume it does, because Mantaflow does, but that's an assumption, not a guarantee. Okay, so 0.26, which is about to come out, it fixes one important bug which stops this from working. So you can now do fluid simulations as I demonstrated at the start of the video. So that's 0.26. So we've got 0.23, adds support for denoising and Cryptomatte, but not in a way that's live synced yet. 0.24 fixes that bug. 0.25 fixes the bug where Python 3.8 wasn't supported, and 0.26 fixes a bug with Mantaflow. And so we've now got support for denoising, Cryptomatte, Python 3.8, which I didn't mention the title, probably should have, and also now Mantaflow. So you can do Mantaflow simulations to your heart's content and render them distributed on multiple computers, which I will demonstrate in an exclusive live stream to the supporters, which will be coming probably at the end of this week. Or no, beginning of next week. We're already at the end of this week. So stay tuned for that. Okay, so I did mention somewhere towards the beginning of the stream that I wanted to chat about the development fund, purely in the context of, obviously we're releasing all these new builds, early access to our supporters, and they're not freely available for people who are not a supporter, basically. So I think it's probably going to be about sort of next week when we actually update our development fund targets, and there'll be an update to the development fund page. And hopefully that will give you guys clarity over when these new builds will be available generally. So the idea is, obviously, I've been talking a bit about this, that we want to become community supported. I mean, that's our preferred option. It's not the only one, but it's the strongly preferred one, because that's just easier for everybody. To get there, obviously, we're going to need some support, and we want to thank everyone who's donated so much. I don't think I have enough gratitude in me to do you all justice, especially given the current circumstances. So to everyone who is supporting us, a huge thank you. You've made our lives amazing, not just possible, but amazing. And we're almost at our first goal. And our first goal is basically making sure the project has enough funding to cover all of its administration, hosting costs, all the outreach that we do. That means that the project, it'll exist online. It will be able to pay all of its software subscriptions, all of its hosting costs, etc. We are still developing out of the goodness of our hearts. So we don't get any money from Crowdrender at the moment in terms of salary or anything like that. We would love if we could get there, though. We'd love if we could have all of the original teams. That's me, Chris, Jeremy, and there's another developer, Martin, who I'm trying to persuade to come on board again as well if we ever reach our ultimate target, which would be awesome. Obviously, that's a much longer term thing. So the development fund is going to be kind of like an ongoing, long-term campaign for us to get to the point where we can afford to have some developers working full-time on it. Because to do the program justice and to do the community justice, we need to have some people who dedicate, every day to this. So that's my little soapbox thing. Again, we want to thank everyone so much for supporting this and just making it possible to do it. And I also want to do a little bit of an expose about development and where we're up to. I'm probably going to save that for a more organized live stream. We do have a roadmap. We're working on getting that to the point where we're happy to show it to you guys. So we do have a plan for the new system we're building. So all the patch releases that I've just shown you are part of the current system. In the background, we are working on a completely new one. And that one is what I'm talking about when I say the roadmap. So we want to actually show you what we're going to work on, what features it's going to have, how long it's going to take, so you guys have clarity that the development fund that we're asking for your donations is really about that. And that is a incredibly optimistic, well, not optimistic, I guess incredibly wonderful target and wonderful goal to achieve, because the software is just going to be absolutely next level. It's going to take a bit of time to do it, but we've already started. We've already actually got code working, so we want to start demonstrating that in some future live streams for you once we've got some brand new features. But there's going to be stuff like we're going to make the rendering far more efficient, so you're going to see faster renders. We're going to make it more flexible. A lot of you guys have been talking about being able to tell or control whether you render one frame on each computer or parts of a frame on each computer. So that isn't possible right now with the current system, but it should be possible with the next system. Also, things like external and linked and appended assets. So I'm doing, we just had one live stream about doing that. We're going to obviously do another one really soon, talking about caches and fluid sims. But we also want to support, projects which can't use the method that I'm going to talk about in those live streams, because there are some setups people have come to us with that you just can't do it. So lots of cool stuff. Hopefully you guys are going to really, really enjoy all the content from the live streams. I would love your comments. I'm pretty new to this whole YouTubing gig, really. I've only been doing it like a year, and these live streams are really new. And I hope you're enjoying them. So, give us a like, give us a thumbs up if you are. If you don't like them, you can certainly give it the thumbs down. I only ask, leave a comment if you didn't like it. If there was something you thought we can improve, then for sure, I'm absolutely on board with doing that. Lastly, subscribe if you like what we do, and consider supporting if you're supporting the project by the development fund if you're not already doing that. That just really makes this whole next leg of the journey, again, something that we can all commit to. As developers, we all want to commit to it, but obviously, we've got bills to pay, and we can't really go all in until, we can have some certainty that if we do that, then there's going to be enough support for us to do it. In the meantime, we're definitely here supporting you as much as we can with all the spare hours we've got. If you've got problems, there is the support system. So you just go to our website and go to the link for Get Help. You'll find that there's a ticket system there. If you haven't used that already, that's been working pretty well. If you have recently signed up, like I've said earlier in the stream, please make sure, if you haven't got access, that you email us, and we will definitely sort it out. Don't stay silent, and then, just email us. And that's pretty much it for this stream. I'm going to be doing another one soon. I'm going to give you guys a bit more warning for that one. I'm sorry, I'm a bit of a ninja just dropping these things in half an hour before they start, or the other one was like 10 minutes before I start. Like I said, I'm getting first-hand experience on just how difficult it is to actually stream in a good way. So that's pretty much it from me. I've got nothing left to say other than thank you for watching this live stream. Hope it's been good. And leave some comments or some praise or some criticism, which will help us do a better job in the future. Until next time, take care. See you later, man.